Top 10 books that you're going to need to survive. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Three River Survival, Three River Books, and Three River Blades. I have many channels, so hopefully you get a chance to go check those out. But today what I wanted to do is I pulled some books out of my prepper's library, and I think these are some of the best books, in my opinion, that you should probably purchase immediately, because I know, as you know, yesterday the whole entire Microsoft internet or interwebs was down due to some mistake by the security agency that handles Microsoft products. So if I was you, now that the internet is back up and running, I'm going to put these links down below. Go ahead and check them out. If you have other options, go ahead and do that. The books that I have here today have a little bit of crossover. That's fine. If you have a book that you want to recommend, put it in the comments down below. I'm sure everybody wants to hear about that. But again, this is a general survival library. If you have some of these, that's great. If not, you should probably take a look at it. What I mean by survival is that the world as you know it is no longer there. All right, so let's call it a power outage, EMP, something happened in the world, civil unrest, earthquakes, everything is gone. And the only thing that survived are these 10 books. All right, and I think that that is something that you might want to look into probably sooner than later. I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion on what I think would probably be the most or top 10 ideal books that you should probably purchase right now. All right, guys, let's start off with the basics. All right, when I say survival, you're not going to get any better than the SAS Survival Handbook. There are many authors out there that are going to tell you about survival, and I think that they are all correct. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but a lot of the stuff that gets pulled from military FM pubs and then gets dumped into a book, and they add some pictures and they sell a book. All right, that's okay, but some of it's very dated. I do like the Lofty Wiseman versions. There are a couple different versions. One's for urban. This happens to be a general use. But ideally what you want in a survival book specifically is color pictures. Color pictures are going to be ideal. Some of those FM old pubs are good, but they are dated. Also understand that not every environment is going to be your environment. So I live in the Northeast. Some people live in the West. Some people live in the South. If you live in Alaska and Anchorage, some of this stuff may not apply. So you have to get the books according to your geographical location. That will help you out. So I'm specifically talking about the Northeast on any of the books that we see here today. All right. So definitely a recommend. It goes into cooking, it goes into snakes, it goes into camping. Primitive skills are fantastic. Traps, again, tropical plants, again with the color pictures are awesome. Mammals and animals, how to track different mammals and animals, all right, and also be wary of them. Looking out for avalanches, health concerns, hunting, fire, climates, people, all that kind of stuff. This is like the all-in-one basic survival book. So that's number one, all right? Next, we're going to talk about water storage. Your body cannot survive without water. So this is the book that I recommend. It's made by Back to Basics, a complete guide to water storage, how to use gray water, rain systems, rain barrels, tanks, other water storage techniques, household emergencies, by Julie Fryer, all right? It doesn't matter where you are, what your location is, but at some point you're going to have to stop and get water. Storing water is a lot easier than gathering water every single day. Again, depending on your survival situation, it depends. I live in an urban environment, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to store water. This thing is awesome. It gives you different types of storage options. It tells you how to clean water, different barrel options. All right, if you want to collect rainwater, be careful of the place that you collect it in. Different type of charcoal methods of cleaning water, flows. You also have to check the pipes, all that kind of stuff. All right, so check it out. Pretty decent book. I like it. Another book I do like is the Backyard Homestead. Backyard Homestead, what's really nice about this is it assumes that you do not have a lot of land. Most of us do not. We don't live in large farming areas anymore, unfortunately. But if you have a small area where you can start growing your own food, this is the book you want. All right. So it goes into plants, growing seeds, all that kind of good stuff. Fruit trees for food, what kind of yield you can get. All right, homegrown grains, backyard, raising chickens, poultry, and meats. All right, depending on your location, it's probably not a big deal to grow certain small animals such as turkey or chicken or ducks, something that you can grow and eventually eat. Goat's milk is good. Again, living in the city, I don't think you can have goats. You definitely can't have cows, all right, unless you have a farm. But you can have chickens, and chickens are good because it's a good source of protein, and they also produce eggs. Rabbits, raising rabbits. Again, any small creature that is going to produce meat for you and your family is fantastic. So definitely a recommend. And on the back it says from a quarter of an acre you can farm, you can harvest. All right, so Backyard Homestead, get that book. All right, speaking of homesteading, all right, The Ultimate Guide to Butchering Meats. The Ultimate Guide. Now, if you're somebody that grew up on a farm, you probably don't have to worry about this, but for most of us, we buy our groceries in the grocery store. So other than cutting up slices of breast meat, we don't really know how to butcher, all right? But this book will actually tell you in color detail how to make your cuts, how to cut up your animals, depending on the animals, all right? So really decent color pictures, big fan of that. Tells you how to hang your meats, gutting. All right, so for those guys that are hunters out there or not hunters that don't know how to actually process an animal, really good information. And I think this is from Skyhorse Publishing. Monty Birch is the author. All right, everything from getting your chicken and plucking all the feathers out all the way to the pot. So I definitely recommend this book. All right. Decent book, and I got them mostly in paperback because I want to be able to store them and take them with me if I need. Another book is The Forager's Harvest. Forager's Harvest has to do with eating and identifying edible plants in the wild. Again, there are a lot of good books out there, but if it's not in color pictures, then it's not going to help you out. All right, because again, one plant might look like another plant, and you don't want to eat the wrong thing. Harvesting plants is probably the easiest thing to do, but that's something that you're going to have to spend a lot of time in the wild doing. It's not a read a book and go out. That's how you start. But you really need to identify plants. I would also suggest going with an expert if you know somebody that's really good at getting plants, especially medicinal plants or plants that you can eat. Identify them, go out there, try it, because the only way you get good at it is to constantly go out in the woods and identify them. If you identify them wrong, they can make you very sick, and they can also kill you. All right, so you want to make sure that you know what you're doing. All right, so good book. I know there's a lot of other ones out there, but this one came recommended to me, so I'm recommending it to you. Forager's Harvest by Samuel Thayer. All right, color pictures, fantastic. All right, let's talk a little bit about medical. Third edition, survival medicine. All right, you are not going to get a better survival guide for medical conditions. This will not make you a surgeon. All right, a lot of times you see a lot of folks out there that they want those big medical books. That's great, but if you're not going to be a doctor, you're not going to know. This is a basic book. Anybody can read this book and understand it. They don't use high technical terms, although the information explaining what it is, technically it is. But if you're like me and maybe just graduated with a high school diploma, you could still read this book and understand what it does. All right, it goes into what type of medical supplies you're probably going to want. Medical supplies, that's how it starts off, how to build out your medical kit. All right. Essential oils, if you need those, herbs, teas, that kind of thing. mass casualty incidents, right? That has also happened here. Walking wounded, how to transport, and then it goes into bugs, ticks, and worms. All right, so all the little buggy creatures that kind of get you. Asthma, avalanches, hypothermia, heart-related issues, tinnitus, how to cure tinnitus. All right, so I'm telling you, this is probably the best book that you're going to get when the shit hits the fan and you need help. This is the only book that I would recommend immediately you go out and purchase. All right. That being said, on medical, I would also recommend getting the Nursing Drug Guide reference for 2024. Get the newest one out there. This is made by Skidmore. All right. This is just a reference book on medications. You and I, that are not doctors or nurses, have no idea what all these names do. So if you needed a reference, let's say you were foraging and it is the end of the world scenario and you picked up something called particulator. I can't even say these words. All right. You would look on the top of the page and it would tell you what it does. It's very quick. It's in alphabetical order. It gives you 2 pages of information on that specific drug. It also tells you what to look out for. It tells you what it treats. It tells you if it's for an adult, if it's for a child, any other adverse effects. This is a fantastic book. Yes, it is kind of thick because we have a lot of prescription drugs out there, but it should be in your prepping library. I highly recommend to get this. Again, we're not doctors. You're not going to remember off the top of your head what the specific drug does. So go ahead, get the nursing guide, nursing drug reference. All right. If you are going to travel out and about, I would recommend getting some type of navigation book. Not everybody can read a road map. We are inundated with GPS on our phones. We can't even walk 3 feet without looking up on our phones where the hell we're going, all right? That is a crutch. It is a good crutch, and it works very well, but you need to know how to navigate. This is the FM 3-25. Previous model was the 21-26. All right, this is the civilian version of it. It's very dry, a very dry military pub. There are other books that you can get for map reading, but ideally, if I gave you a topo map, you need to know how to read it. You need to know what contour lines are. You need how to get magnetic north. You need to know all of those things, all right? This will help you out. If you find a map and you're not familiar with it, start doing some research. When the internet or the grid is down, which just happened, you're going to have to navigate this wide world without your cell phone, without a digital map telling you where to go. So learn how to read map and use compasses. All right, good. All right, for my hunter-gatherers out there, It Doesn't Get Any Better by Steve Ryanella. Hunting, butchering, cooking wild game. You don't have to get this book on hunting, but this is a very, very basic book. This is a 2-volume set. Ideally, what's really nice here is that he does go in with color pictures, talks about his gear, what he takes with him, all of that. If you're a hunter and you already know, then you don't have to worry about that portion of it. How to scout animals, specifically what animals that you're looking for, how to tag animals, how to look for animals. All right, so you got to understand that most people call up their Uber Eats and they get their food delivered to them. All right, we forgot how to be basic. We forgot how to be men, all right? And this is a book on how to go out and put food on the table. Now, I'm not saying that you should illegally hunt. Absolutely not. I am a hunter myself, as you saw some of my heads that are hanging up. You have to do it legally. I would recommend that you take your children, your sons, your daughters out and go hunting every season so you have a feel for it. Know what the animals are in your area, know how to tag it, know how to get a license for it, all of that stuff. Then if something really bad happens, you're already ahead of the curve. Get a good book on hunting. I recommend Steve Ryanella, especially for guys that are brand new. The color pictures are fantastic. Big glossy color pictures, and it also has really good detailed information on what you should bring, what you should pack, how to get the animals out once you kill them. how to butcher them. And if you ever watch his shows, he actually cooks a lot of the meats in the forest, or in the mountains, wherever he is. So good book on that. The next book that I'm going to recommend is The Trapper's Bible. All right, Trapper's Bible. It's not as easy as just setting up a snare and hopefully your game will go through there. The Trapper's Bible has been around for quite some time. Most complete guide to trapping and hunting and tips, pens, animals, scents, skins, all of that. Here in New York, we have to get a license for trapping, and there is a trapping season. Some of this stuff is very outdated. It's very black and white-ish. There are other stuff that there are other books that you can get. This is written by Livingston, but this book was recommended to me, which is why I'm recommending it to you. It's not good enough to just... It's not good enough to just read the book. You actually have to go out there and do it. So I recommend that you get your license, try a season of it, find out what works, what doesn't work, because again, you're only as good as what you practice. So really good book. All right, that was book number 10, but the last book is a bonus book, and I think you absolutely should have it. All right, the U.S. Military's Ranger Handbook. If you don't want to get the U.S. Military Rangers Handbook, there are plenty of books out there on fire and maneuver. There are tons of books. You can get the pubs. You can get the the FM manuals if you want. You can get these books. I think the U.S. Army puts these out. Yeah, United States Army puts these out now in color, and they do pretty good at it. A lot of this is just blown up type of pictures, but what I like about this is that a small militia or small units is probably, or a small family unit can defend themselves. You need to know how to defend yourselves, not just go out and get the Gucci kit and go to the square range. You need to know how to work as a team, and the only way you're going to do that is to practice it. I know there was a show out there called Doomsday Preppers, and it took a bunch of people and made them look like fools, all right? But they weren't wrong for having a militia. They weren't wrong for practicing skills within a family unit. Good luck trying to defend your home with just one person. You have to sleep. You have to pull security. You have to hunt. You have to gather. You have to get water. How are you going to do that with all your Gucci kit in one person? It's impossible to do. But get some type of training. There's plenty of military training out there. Guys that come from the military that now open up their own training companies. Highly recommend go get training. This book will kind of teach you a little bit about what it means to work in a small unit, which is ideally what's going to happen for the SHTF or end of the zombie apocalypse or whatever it is. People will gather together. The ones that will survive are the strongest and the best trained. You don't have to get this book. You can get all the other books that have to do with small unit tactics. All right. You don't have to get the U.S. Army Ranger Handbook, but it is widely available. That's why I did it. Ideally, being a United States Marine, the last 100 yards. This one I had to buy on Amazon, and it was not cheap because they are out of print. Poole, H.R. Poole, the author, and Bill Lind forward. All right, so he does the forward in here. This is a fantastic book of NCOs. It actually gives you large graphs on what you should do in a hostile environment, meaning that you're going to take over a position, you're going to defend a position, all of that. All right. So again, this is a fantastic book if you can get it, but it's on eBay. If you can't find that, just get the Ranger's Handbook, and it will do you pretty good. All right, guys. So I hope you appreciated that video. Please like and subscribe. If you have any other books that you want to recommend, just put it down below of the books that you read. These are all fantastic books. I wanted to make sure you guys understand that time is fleeting. All right, we don't have enough time to do anything, and the more that you are prepared, the easier that your life will be. Go ahead and get these books. I am an Amazon affiliate, so anything that you purchase here, I get like 2 cents on a dollar. So thank you very much for that. If you want to support this channel, like, subscribe, share, or you can also go to Patreon and become a Patreon member. It only costs you $1 a month. Thank you very much, guys. And as always, be safe.